much for doing this. I really, really appreciate it.
No, of course, of course. How you doing?
Great. So our podcast is about your journey in music and how you got to where you are
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. All
now.
right. We
So first,
started already.
yeah, let's do this.
Oh, we're here. Okay.
So tell me about where you grew up.
Okay, so I grew up in like a very small village called Kings Langley, which probably has like the population's like not even above 5,000.
Oh, wow.
Which meant I had nothing else to do but do music, and it's very like white middle class. But yeah, it's all right.
Right
Nothing.
on. Well, how did you get into music?
I think my earliest memory of music is like just being in church. I was like born and raised in church, as a lot of music are, and I think you experience live music from a really young age, and also see how people connect to music in a different way. I think in a church context, there's a real like power and spirituality there. So that was always really inspiring for me. And yeah, I started like just teaching myself Logic when my dad got my brother Logic actually, and I was like, oh snap, like I can like record my own vocals on there as well. So I'd just get on there and I'd like start just singing random covers and stuff. And I loved harmonizing and stuff. And I remember when I first discovered like reverb, and I was like, whoa, my voice. And I was just like, yeah, just teaching myself production stuff for a while, and yeah, just kind of making beats at home. That's kind of how it happened.
You said your brother got Logic. It was his thing. Your parents got it for him. Is he still doing music as well?
He does a bit, but I think I've kind of taken over. I feel a bit guilty for that, but now I'm kind of in the family. Yeah.
What about like collaborating with him? Does he help you with anything or no?
Now and again, I'll get him to listen to stuff. But you know, when you're just like siblings, so it's not really like that. It's just like
right.
Distance. It's like you're my brother, and that's it, kind of thing.
Totally. Yeah. You talked about church growing up. Were you like in the chorus or choir for the church?
Yeah, like the churches I've grown up in are like, they're not so like a choir. It's more just like there's a few singers, you know, at the front leading worship and stuff. So yeah, I've definitely been heavily involved in singing, and I think that's given me like a real good training ground for just performing in front of big groups of people as well. So
do you remember the first time you performed in front of a big group of people? Was that in church?
Yeah, it was actually, aside from like family events. Yeah, I can't remember how old I was, but I sung Silent Night. Yeah, at some kind of Christmas church service.
Nice. So I did read that you graduated high school and released your debut EP the same exact year. I want to get to that, but prior to doing that, how involved in music, or like how did you get, you know, to the point of getting signed to Warner Records and all of that? Like, tell me about going from singing in the church to songwriting.
How did that happen? Yeah, like I said, I was just kind of making songs at home, and so I had like a few demos. And I think being in church, you get to know like a lot of skilled musicians. So over the years, I'd just meet a musician who knew someone else, and that's kind of how you start networking. So then I eventually like met my manager, who wasn't an official manager, he was just like a guy really who knew a few people in music, and wanted to help me out basically. And so yeah, I just started doing sessions around 15, and I was kind of doing school, studying for my exams. I live outside of London, so I'd like do lessons, commute into London, and then meet a random producer guy, try write stuff back, do it all again. So I was just doing that kind of routine for quite a long time. And I think when you start working with other people, that's how your music gets about a bit, because they've got managers or they've got a team or whatever. And so yeah, I've got a song called Paradise and a song called Moment, and I had those before I was signed, and those are the songs that kind of, I think they circulated a little bit around publishers and stuff, and I was like, I don't even know what a publishing deal is, I don't even know what a record deal is, but I had just had all these like grown men just being interested in like working with me and like doing business or whatever, and so yeah, I ended up doing a record deal and signing to Warner from there. And then what happened? I'm trying to make this as concise and exciting as possible.
Well,
I signed.
Getting up to the point of signing, you said you had a manager, you met a manager who was circling that song around, those songs around a little bit. Were those recordings that you did as demos at your house? Like you're talking about recording stuff on Logic and creating your own beats?
Yeah, Moment was one of them, and that was my first like 100% song, like produced and wrote it just me at home. That was good, basically. And Paradise was my first ever like co-write. I went into the session with that song. I was just like, I don't want to write about love. I want to write about something else. And it's this like super minimal, like plucky song, and it just has this one riff that goes throughout it. And I think that grabbed the ears of a lot of people because it's so minimal.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I ended up meeting a few labels and publishers off of those two songs, and yeah, a record deal seemed to make sense. I can't really remember why. I didn't know if I wanted to. I just know I loved writing songs. You know, like I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like I want to be an artist or I want to be a pop star, but I think people just seemed to be interested. So I signed a deal when I was 17, and then I had a year of A levels to finish. A levels is like the last exams you have when you're 18 in the
Oh,
UK.
okay.
So then I finished my exams, and then a year later I put out my first song.
Wow.
That,
Cool.
yeah.
Oh, that's when you put out the first song. You didn't put the whole EP out right away. You just
No, yeah. So I put out a song called Mirror Talk, and then we kind of drip fed a few singles, and then put out an EP. Yeah, a little bit later.
Wow. Were you playing live at this point?
No, do you know what? I still haven't like gotten stuck into live as much as I want to. Like I've done like industry stuff because obviously I think we do a few showcases to like try and I guess stir up some kind of hype or something. I don't know. So I've done industry stuff, but it doesn't really feel like you invite labels and whatever, but it doesn't feel like a real show because you've just got a bunch of like label heads, you know, that are very straight faced looking at you, trying to figure out if I'm going to be the next thing or not. So that doesn't feel like a fun, you know? So I've done like one headline show in London, but otherwise, no.
Wow.
And then Corona. So I'm like keen to get really stuck into live. So yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me about that London show though.
That was actually really unforgettable. I was so nervous because I think as a creative, anyone's quite a perfectionist. And so I'm just like, oh, you want it to be good. You want everyone to turn up. And I think also in my head, I'm very like, I was like, I want big production. I want big stage design and everything. And then you realize how much all of this costs. And everyone's like, Sarah, you're just starting out. But it was amazing. Yeah, it was in this like old Victorian hall in London. And it was really weird to see faces that weren't my family and friends, you know, and to hear people sing that aren't my family and friends. So yeah, it was very, very good.
That's cool. Coming from like a small, you said the village you grew up in was only like less than 5,000 people. Were you
Yeah.
exposed to a lot of live music, or was it like, were you able to see shows?
Oh, well, do you know what? I haven't actually been to that many shows. I've never been that I don't know why. I feel like I should have seen more shows, but no. But obviously being in church, I guess there's that element of live music, but I still am keen to go to more live shows.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
Like, what are the best live shows you've seen?
The best live shows I've seen.
Yeah.
Years there. Well, it'd be looking back now, like bands that I like Green Day, seeing them when they were smaller, and Blink 182 when they weren't big yet. Some of those shows I can remember.
That's it, isn't it? It's artists when they haven't quite exploded. I feel like that's the magical moment because you feel like you got the point. Yeah.
But I have seen Paul McCartney a couple times, and those were insane. So it really depends, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I want to go back to that first EP again real quick. So when did you said that you had 2 of the songs done before you got signed, and how old were you when you wrote those songs? And were those the first songs that you had written?
Yeah, so Moment, they were kind of the first songs. I think before that I'd written like a few bad songs here and there, but those were kind of the first proper half decent songs. So yeah, Moment, I was about 15 when I wrote that. And Paradise, I think I was about 15 or 16. And then the other 3 songs were Sound of Your Voice, Mirror Talk, and Didn't Break It Enough. And those, I was probably around like 17 or something when I wrote those.
Still young, wow. And then I did read that you were like, I'm not sure if you still are, but I would think that you're like a really big Taylor Swift fan, and like Fearless was it? Tell me about her and that whole experience.
I feel like it's a bit like taboo and controversial to like be an outward Taylor Swift fan, but I am.
So am I. I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan.
You are. So the first, like I said, I grew up in church, so I was mainly surrounded by a lot of like soul music and R&B music, which is like amazing. But when I was around old, my cousin gave me an iPod Nano, and it had
I remember. Is that the clip one?
no, it's like around this big. It was kind of fat.
Okay, yeah, I remember it now.
Circle, yeah. But it just had that album on it. Literally, I don't know why it was on there, but I remember listening to it and just being like, whoa, like major chords and like storytelling and like big choruses, you know, like it was new. So I completely fell in love with the album, and ever since I stick by her because I still think she's one of the best songwriters ever.
Oh, right. I know.
Yeah.
Have you heard her new record yet?
Yes, I love it.
I think it's their best one.
Yeah, I feel like anyone who thought she was cheesy and not credible now can't say that, because it's a great, you know what I mean? She has Bon Iver on the album. So.
Oh, I know. When I heard that song, I was like, what that like was a game changer. I felt like that just shut up everybody that had ever talked bad about her.
It demands respect.
It definitely does. Well, I want to talk about your new music. You just released a couple new songs.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that.
Honestly, it's been weird because I've been releasing over lockdown. Good stuff, which has actually done really surprisingly well. The best out of all my songs. It's like a ballad. And so that was before lockdown, and that was really cool because it sounds like a heartbreak song, but I wrote that kind of about, the line is like, you left me with the good stuff, and I had that written down, and that was about how my family foster kids, and so kids come to live with us for years sometimes, and they become like my brother and sister, but then they always move on to like a more permanent place. And I guess it's just that thought of like, when anyone leaves your life, even though the relationship could be really hard and it could have been crazy, you always only remember the best memories. So it's kind of like, you left me with the good stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, that song's done really well, and I'm really, really like happy about that one. And actually I wrote that with David and Jess, who just wrote Dynamite by BTS. So I'm super happy for them.
Oh, wow. That's it.
So that's really, really cool. And then
well, go back real quick to you said your parents used to foster children, or was that a cool experience? Like growing up, having a bunch of new, people from different parts of the world, I would think.
Yeah, no, it's weird. At first, because we started when I was around 8, and it was just weird, like suddenly new kids are like taking the attention of your mum, and you're like, what's going on? But no, we still foster, and it's like, it's incredible. Like that we foster quite young kids, and they always come and live with us, and they become part of the family. And I think, it's nice. I've just become used to having a big family,
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool. So back to back to the new stuff.
I'm just like, I'm not really giving you an ordered story, but yeah.
Oh, it's okay. I love it. So Forgive Me was the next song that you released, and that was during lockdown as well?
Yeah, so that was during lockdown, and that was weird because it was like, we hadn't filmed a music video for it. I was pretty apprehensive about it because I was like, is it strong enough? Like, is it good? But yeah, we ended up trying to film a music video from home, which I feel like everyone was trying to do. So the challenge was trying to create a good music video that just wasn't like shit, So yeah, we ended up like ordering in projectors and like playing around with that, and I think it looked cool. Like we filmed it all on an iPhone, but I feel like it doesn't look iPhone.
No, so. It looks great. Yeah, it's crazy how much, how well those phone shoots nowadays. It's like equivalent to like.
Yeah, it's definitely, I feel like it's shown everyone that you don't need to spend thousands on a video.
No, yeah. It's like, unfortunate, like the DSLR Canons and all those are like, why would you spend $5,000 on that when I could just shoot the same thing with my phone?
I know. So yeah, I released Forgive Myself, and I think that's had a really, really nice response. And then my latest single that just came out.
Yeah, now tell me about the latest one. That's Say It Again.
Say It Again. Yeah, this is one I've had in my archives for a minute. The lyric in it is like, however many times that you need to just tell yourself it's going to be okay, however many times that you need to hear it every single hour of the day. And that chorus was kind of just about like, I had a lot of like close girlfriends to me that were like struggling quite a lot, especially with mental health and stuff. And I think when you have people close to you struggling, I just felt really helpless. Like, what do you do? What can you say? Like, how can you encourage someone that's going through a really hard time? And that song for me was just going like, I don't know what to do other than to just say and believe things are going to be okay eventually, and say it again and again and again until it really is. So yeah, that's kind of what the song's about. And yeah,
did you have that written prior to COVID happening, or did you write that?
Yeah, that song's like 2 years old actually. We've had it in
wow.
It's a bit more of a commercial feel. I didn't produce it, produced by a guy called P2J, who's since actually had like real big success with writing like all of Beyonce's latest stuff, which is crazy. No, I know. I keep kind of like writing with really cool London people who then I'm like, bring me with you. Yeah, so that it's a bit more of a commercial feel, so we held it back so that we released the first EP and then brought this one out now. So yeah,
I was just curious because you said it had to do with mental health, and I know like right now it's even worse, I would think, for people that are stuck. Now everyone's stuck inside the house, like, okay. You know.
No, I know it's literally like the worst environment for people's mental health to like get worse, you know. But yeah,
have you been able to write quite a bit during the quarantine, or
like right at the beginning I was kind of excited because I was like, do you know what, this is great, I can like just be by myself in my music room again, just the way that I started off writing. And then it came to it and I just wasn't inspired at all. Like I had this like weird pressure on myself to write so much and it just didn't really happen. But it's fine, I've been writing and I think some good stuff has come, but it hasn't been as productive as I thought it would be. But what can
yeah, I've heard that from a couple different artists where like in the very beginning it was like, okay, I'm so inspired, like stuff's happening, and then it was like, you know, now it's been what, 6-7 months and we're all still inside. They're like, yeah, I can't really get inspired by these same four walls anymore.
Yeah, it was really hard. So I think with writing I get super frustrated with myself because I'm like, I need to write a good song every day, but you just can't. Like it just comes and it goes, you know.
And then are those 3 songs going to be a part of a record or EP?
You know, I have no idea. I think like I am working towards, I think the next step is an EP, but for now I think like till the end of the year we're just releasing singles and then I might whack a few of them on an EP. I really don't have a plan. We're kind of just by ear, putting music out and seeing what people like. So yeah.
That's cool. And then as far as performing, you said you hadn't done a whole lot of live performing, but have you gone like live on your Instagram or anything like that to kind of promote the songs?
Yeah, it sucks. Like my live agent always says like, every time you release a piece of music you should do a show because that's how you like grow your live audience. So it's been hard, I guess, not doing that with the songs. And I've done some live, but I feel like every single artist creative and their dog and their nan has gone on live Instagram, and I feel like everyone do it. So yeah, I don't know. I think I've just accepted that like live will come in 2021, you know, and everything's
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for talking with me today, Griff. I really appreciate your time.
No, thank you for having me. Thank you.
I have one more question. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Ooh, be patient. Because I guess a lot of people even look at where I'm at and maybe go, oh, it's only been a year and maybe it feels like it's doing good. But, you know, I've been writing songs since I was like 12, you know, and like so. And even I'm having to tell myself every day to be patient because I want to be like 10 steps ahead from where I'm at now. And yeah, just work hard and be nice, you know, be nice and just enjoy writing songs, you know, and just find your own lane. There's no point trying to write songs that sound like everyone else. So yeah, that's what I'd say. Bring it backwards.